At what cost is it okay to have all these films that are supposed to be representing Italian Americans or Italians, true Italians, or, a play about a New York Italian with not one Italian in the cast?
Cawfee Talk.
Welcome back to Cawfee Talk, where the coffee is strong and the talk is real. Hope you guys had a great weekend. It's a Monday morning. If you're listening to this, I love how some people are like, hi, I don't listen to you on Monday mornings. I listen to you on Monday nights, or I watch you. Great. Whatever time you're listening, thank you for tuning in. I have a celebration for once, something I'm excited about to tell you guys. I have been asked to be the Grand Marshal at the Columbus Day Parade in the Bronx. And this is a parade, guys, that I have memories of, being a cheerleader, of attending every year of my life. And when I first got asked, it was like, oh, yeah, of course I'll do it. And I don't think, I just thought, okay, it's just a neighborhood parade and it's, a celebration of Italian American heritage, which, yes. Any day of the week, yes. Any day of the year, yes. The block that I'm going to be marching down is one that is so prominent in my childhood. It had the Morris Park Inn, which was this bar my grandfather used to take action in. And that sounds really Bronx. But it's just true. I remember my grandfather, my papi Rudy, was a bookmaker. I can say that now because my grandmother has passed away and I'm not supposed to talk about these things, but if she's listening to the podcast, I'd be happy. So I don't mind if she hears that I'm giving the family secrets away. But my grandfather used to be at this bar every day. And when he passed away, I went to the bar and I asked if I could have the stool because he had a stool that he sat on. It was his stool. He had even when the place changed or moved locations, he took the stool with him to the new location. And they were like, listen, it's his stool. You can have it. And I have that stool still in my house, the stool that my grandfather sat on. Just all dressed up post-funeral, carrying a stool down Morris Park Avenue. Morris Park Avenue is a avenue I hung out on where I got Italian ices. I had my favorite pizza spot. It was this place called Captain's Pizzeria. And, when I accepted the invitation and said, of course, yes, I'll be the Grand Marshal, I don't think I put too much thought into it until it started coming up because the date is approaching. And I guess they posted a flyer announcing it. And the way it was received and the way people started reaching out to me about how proud they were or how happy they were for me kind of made me realize I probably minimized this thing. And, I've been very vocal about how hard the climb is in comedy and how, we feel defeated and depleted and all these topics I've had on the podcast. And it's wow, this really is a celebration, not just of, my work and where it's led me, but being a really proud Italian American, which I have made that the basis for my stand-up comedy, for my social media, for this podcast. And I just took a moment where I was wow, I really need to reflect on the fact that something great happened. we're going to have a dinner and my parents are going to be on the float with me. And it's not just a little neighborhood parade, right? I think it has so much more meaning. So I recently went to a play in the city. It was about the life of Bobby Darin, who's a prominent Italian-American figure, singer, New Yorker, and his actual name, Italian name, I think last name was Cassato. I think I have it here. It was Cassato. First name Walden, Robert. So they changed his name, obviously, to Bobby Darin. And they explained to you in the play how that happens. And he was in love, his first love. Bobby Darin's first love was Connie Francis. Connie also, Italian American. She was actually, I think, the first, if I'm not, I think I'm correct on this, Connie Francis was the first female Grand Marshal of the San Gennaro feast in New York City. And none of the actors in this Broadway production were of Italian American descent. Hear me out. Put any other ethnicity in that scenario. A prominent Cuban or a prominent Hispanic, a specific Hispanic figure, African American, somebody Asian, of specific origin, right? Like a Filipino or a Chinese, and you put somebody else, a different ethnicity, playing that role, there would be an uproar. It'd be on the news. It would be, the next big story, and there'd be march. I mean, God knows what would happen. But I feel like I was watching this play. I spent a lot of money on it. It was actually the last thing I did with my stepfather. I had taken him and my mom to see this show. And I did it specifically because it was an Italian American and it was of the music of their times and they were going to love the music. And I gotta be honest, I was like enraged the entire time. I talk about like being in the moment and enjoying things and just taking things for what they are. And I'm sitting in the seats and I am fuming. I am so upset because not only, and Keita, can you look up, because I want to get the guy's name right, the actor who played Bobby Darin in the Broadway show that I went to see called Just in Time. He was not of any Italian American descent. Neither was the woman who played Connie Francis. And it's like, I'm a little over it. And, I got asked to be the Grand Marshal because I'm Italian American, and that's what it's about. It's about Italian heritage. Why? Even at the San Gennaro feast, I got upset when I saw all the different food trucks, and I'm like, can't it just be about Italians in this one specific scenario when we're being really specific? Like, it doesn't always have to be, not everything has to be inclusive or, and that's like a bold statement. But what I mean, in celebrating our culture. And it happened in like the movies, like, there were movies about prominent Italian Americans, not mafia movies, right? Because those they'll put Italian American actors in. But there was like a movie I think about Versace and Ferragamo, and like they're not played by Italian Americans. And don't get me wrong, they're great artists. But it's like we're living in a time where everybody has to be represented and everybody has to be celebrated. And I feel like not when it comes to Italian Americans. Like, we're the one culture you can still publicly make fun of. Like when we had, Tommy DeVito in the New York Giants. He was Tommy Cutlets, and everybody was making fun of him and doing all these weird cultural things. And, I get it. I get that we're great about it. I'm so happy that we have a sense of humor and can make fun of ourselves and we're not easily offended and we let ourselves be the butt of the joke. But like, at what cost? At what cost is it okay to have all these films that are supposed to be representing Italian Americans or Italians, true Italians, or, a play about a New York Italian with not one Italian in the cast? No, I'm going to say no, I'm not okay with it. And I had every intention of making this podcast because some of them have been deeper and darker. More recently, my Cawfee Talks to be one of like celebration and happiness. But I have to be honest, it took this direction because it really does, God, I don't want to use the word trigger, but it did. It really bothered me. Keita's going to come back with the info.
Jonathan Groff.
Yes.
Who comes from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which probably has not a single Italian in it. And yeah, they don't mention anything about his ethnicity. He is gay,
Yes, which is
good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Broadway talent. I don't care what your sexual orientation is privately. I care about how you're representing, a prominent Italian American figure. And listen, I don't know if this is a controversial issue because, I've addressed a few things in this episode, but it really shouldn't be, right? If we're living in a time where we're celebrating everybody for being who they are, let's start celebrating Italians for who they are.
To be fair,
Yes.
Bobby Darin doesn't look like your typical Italian-looking person, A. B, this guy, Jonathan, looks very similar. At least by face. I don't know.
But here's my thing. It's not like Italian American traditional Italians. Like I was just watching an episode of like Somebody Feed Phil, and they were in Italy, and the woman was making this. Oh no, it was actually Stanley Tucci. It was the Stanley Tucci in Italy or whatever his show is. I'm not doing it justice, and it was about a woman in, was it Bologna, who was blonde hair, blue-eyed, Italian, old woman. It's like, I don't care about standard look. I care about people today wouldn't care. Yeah, cultural identity. I wouldn't care if people, like, nobody would care if I had a spray tan and was playing somebody Spanish. They'd care that I'm not Spanish. Even if I had an olive complexion. Like, it's like, just to me, it was this thing that it was like, I don't know where we get away with this today in any other culture. And to be honest, I would have preferred watching an Italian American playing an Italian American, or a real Italian playing an Italian. And so it's just something I noted. It's, I'd love to hear your opinion on it. I don't want to, over talk it. But it was something that kind of bothered me, and it took away from like this production I thought I was going to see that was going to be a celebration of Italian Americans. So I'm not going to belabor it. I'm looking forward to being the Grand Marshal at the parade. I'm really looking forward to like the socialization of it, being, around other Italian Americans. Like I really do enjoy celebrating our culture and, especially something in the Bronx. So that's going to be October 12th. If you're in New York and want to come to the parade, what?
What's great about this episode is that we managed to pull together liberals and conservatives. We're in the conservative Catholic corner on one side, and we are in the liberal pure representation side. So this is where the world meets.
Guys, I basically should be
Who knew
running.
It was going to be on Cawfee Talk.
Am I going to be the next president? Am I going to unite everybody? I think that's what you know what? That's what it should be. There should be a happy medium. There should be some sort of bipartisan view, if that's what we're going to do, if we're talking about politics. It just should be considered. So, yes, I'm the Grand Marshal at the Columbus Day Parade. And yes, I'm going to fight for Italian American cultural identity. No. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Because I'm going to probably post about it prior to this episode. I'm not doing it again for controversy. I'm doing it because I really feel passionate about it. I pride myself on being this Italian American representative and blah, blah, blah. And then I watched it and, obviously a lot of things happened immediately after I saw the show in my life that, deflected, and I wasn't posting about a play I saw. Let's do the poll, right? Should non-Italian Americans play Italian Americans in entertainment? The same with Italians, there was, which obviously it would be an Italian American playing Versace, but let's see, the actor. Adam Driver.
Who's not even vaguely Italian.
Not even vaguely Italian, but he was so good. He was so good in this role, but not Italian. So guys, I look forward. We'll come back to you with the numbers. We'll find out if I got canceled after this or if I am going to be running for at least local office. Because if comedy doesn't work out, I need something. If you want to make sure that doesn't happen, come to a show. All my shows are listed on my website. In October, I'll be in Los Angeles. In November, I will be in, where am I going to be? In October, I'm going to be in Sicily. Taking 10 days to go take my dad on the trip. You guys are going to get so much good content from this. November, I'll be in Florida. November 6th, Stanford. November 9th, Fort Lauderdale. November 22nd, I'll be at the Hollywood Improv in Los Angeles. And I was just there last night, and people were like, I love your New York accent. Well, if you love it so much, come see me. December, I have Stanford and Atlantic City. And March, my birthday weekend, March 6th through the 8th. My birthday's on the 5th. I am doing Off the Hook Comedy Club in Naples, Florida. I am so excited about that weekend. You guys made it possible that they gave me 5 shows. 5 shows, 1 weekend, Naples, Florida. All my snowbirds and people who move there. New York and New Jersey is going to fill up all 5 shows. I know that already. So, guys, I look forward to seeing you and have a great day. I hope this was a more positive episode of Cawfee Talk. I really came in being like, I'm going to do something so upbeat, and then I got a little angry, but for what I think is a good cause. So that's it, guys. TaraJokes.com. See you later.
Cawfee Talk.